They called him the Hammer of the Court. Judge Leonard Mercer. He liked that name. It made him sound strong, hard, righteous. On TV, reporters said he was tough on crime. Politicians smiled and stood next to him. People at home clapped when they saw him sending criminals away for years. They did not see what happened when the cameras were gone. Inner voice, justice is a show until the doors close. The first time I heard his name was on a court document. It was the decision that freed the man who killed my sister. A drunk driver. 3 previous incidents. No jail time. That night, he drove again. This time, he did not just hit a mailbox or a trash can. He hit her. Witnesses said he was laughing. 5 minutes before the crash. They said he tried to run. They said he smelled like a bar. But none of that mattered in the end. Judge Mercer looked at him from the bench. Looked at my family. Looked at the file. And then he looked at the lawyer. We did not hear the deal. We just heard the sentence. Judge, time served. Suspended license. Compulsory treatment program. Time served. A few hours in a cell. My sister got a cold metal drawer. In a grave. He walked out of the courthouse. 3 months later, he was seen driving again. Inner voice. Some people are never afraid of punishment because they know it has a price. Rumors started to appear. Whispers in corridors. Defense attorneys who always smiled a little too wide. When they drew his courtroom, bail magically lowered for the right people. Evidence not convincing enough against men in suits. Soft sentences for those who could pay. Hard time for those who couldn't. On paper, everything was legal. In real life, freedom was on sale. At first, I told myself, this is just how the world works. You can't fight a judge. But then I wondered, if he can sell justice in daylight, what could I do to him in the dark? I started with patterns. I stayed in that courthouse, not as a victim's family member, but as a shadow. I watched trials where he acted like a hero. Domestic abusers walking out for lack of evidence because the victim was too emotional. White-collar criminals who stole millions, paying a fine and going home. In a different courtroom, a 19-year-old with no money did 3 years for stealing food. Inner voice, the crime is not what you did. The crime is how much you can afford. I spoke to clerks, to guards, to anyone who worked near him. They all said the same things. He works late. He hates losing control. He doesn't like surprises. He has friends in high places. One clerk, after too much coffee and not enough sleep, said something else. Clerk, if you follow the money, you follow his decisions. He laughed like it was a joke. I didn't. I found out about a private dinner. A quiet place, only for certain lawyers, certain clients, and one judge, who happened to be there. No cameras, no press. Deals were made over wine and expensive food. Hypothetical sentences. Hypothetical cases. Hypothetical numbers. That ended up in real bank accounts. Inner voice. If he thinks justice is a business, then he is just another merchant. I did not have the power to arrest him. I did not have the power to fire him. But I could do one thing. I could make him sit in the one place he always controlled and feel what it was like to lose control there. So I waited. Late nights, when he liked to review cases alone in his courtroom. No jury, no lawyers, just him and the echo of his own voice. One night, he stayed later than usual. The cleaning staff went home. The lights in the hallway dimmed. Only his courtroom remained lit. I watched him from the upper gallery, hidden in the shadows. He was recording something on his phone, practicing a speech, maybe. Judges like the sound of their own words. When he finally stood up to leave, he noticed the big screen on the wall, the one used for presenting evidence. It was on. Judge, who left this? The screen flickered. Then a video started to play. Not a movie, not a slideshow. Security footage. From the restaurant. The private dinners. Lawyers. Clients. Him. His face. His voice. Judge, hypothetically, if the defendant cooperates, I might consider a lighter sentence. Laughter. Glasses clinking. Another clip. A different night. Lawyer. And if my client were to be generous, would the court be generous too? Judge, the court always appreciates generosity. On the screen, his hand moved under the table to accept a small envelope. His real hand, in the present, tightened on the back of the chair. Judge, who is doing this? Inner voice, you are watching evidence for once in your life. He looked up at the empty gallery. He thought it was empty. He shouted, Judge, this footage is illegal. This is manipulation. The screen changed. Now it was a list. Names, dates, cases. On one side, defendants with money. On the other, sentences. Suspended, reduced, dismissed. At the bottom of the list, highlighted, was my sister's case number. Judge, no, that one was. His own voice cut him off. A recording from inside his chambers. Judge, recorded, the family will cry either way. No need to destroy the man's life over one mistake. Inner voice, one mistake, one life. He started hitting random keys on the control panel. Nothing stopped the video. Behind him, the big oak chair of the judge's bench looked like a throne, made of lies. He was breathing faster now. Judge, come out. Whoever you are, come out. I did not move. I let his words hang in the air and fall back onto him. The video changed again. Now it showed something else. His bank records, large deposits, from consulting fees. That matched, almost perfectly, the dates of his most generous decisions. Lawyer probation, deposit. Suspended sentence, deposit. Time served, deposit. Judge, you have no idea how this system works. You think you understand justice? Me, I understand what a price tag looks like. He turned, finally seeing me in the shadows of the gallery. His face went white. Judge, you can't use any of this. It will never hold in court. Me, court? You really think this is about court? He swallowed. Judge, what do you want? Money. Inner voice, he only understands one language. Me, no. I want you to feel what it's like to sit where I sat. To understand that your life is not in your hands anymore. He grabbed his phone. No signal. The signal jammer in the hallway did its job. He walked toward the exit. Locked. He tried the side door. Also locked. Judge, this is kidnapping. This is a crime. Me, you've committed crimes in this room for years. Consider this a delayed hearing. I pressed a small remote in my hand. Behind him, in the empty jury box, screens lit up one by one. Each showed a face. Not real people, but photos. Victims. Families. Newspaper headlines. Man killed by repeat offender. Family destroyed after early release. Community outraged at lenient sentence. He turned in circles, surrounded by his own decisions. Judge, I did what I could within the law. Me, no. You did what you could within your price range. I walked down the steps, until I stood where lawyers usually stood. I placed a folder on the desk in front of him. Me. Inside this folder is every case where your generosity had a cost. You don't have to read it. Someone else will. Judge, you won't get away with this. Me. I'm not the one on trial. On the screen behind him, a progress bar appeared. Uploading. Judge, what are you uploading? Me. Your greatest hits. Every clip, every record, every number. To people who actually care. His eyes widened. Judge, you think you can scare me with public opinion? Inner voice, not scare. Drip.